What's going on, guys? This is Aaron with Departures Capital. We're here with James Paston, co-founder and CEO of BioVax. How are you doing today, James?
Yeah, great, Aaron. Great pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Nice to have you on the channel. Let's start by giving our viewers an introduction to BioVax and tell us what you guys are up to and exactly what you do.
Absolutely. Well, BioVaxys is a world leader in haptenized vaccines, focusing on viruses and cancer. We're also involved in immunodiagnostics. Our technology was developed by our co-founder and chief medical officer, Dr. David Bird, who pioneered the use of what we call haptenization to develop cancer vaccine technology. So in terms of our experienced leadership team at BioVaxys, we collectively have overseen the investment of over 100 million US dollars into the development of Dr. Bird's vaccine technology in a previous generation of the technology through two successful phase 2 FDA approved trials for cancer vaccines. And we have leveraged all of this technology related to cancer to also expand into viruses. And we've had a successful COVID vaccine candidate where we had very promising preclinical results with 96.4% efficacy for antibodies, 100% efficacy for T cells at the two highest dose groups. And also we observed neutralizing antibodies and all of this without any side effects. Also, our vaccines are generally fairly easy to manufacture compared to some of the other vaccine technologies that are being developed. And then we've also, aside from our cancer and virus vaccine platform, we've also have developed a novel test for T cell immunity to COVID involving a low-cost skin test.
Awesome. You guys are up to a lot of things. So BioVaxys and ProCare Health announced a broad co-development, joint commercialization, and marketing collaboration for cancer and viral vaccines recently. Can you tell us more about this and why it's important?
ProCare Health is a significant private Spanish pharma company that is a world leader in women's healthcare innovations. The company was spun out of Procter & Gamble and has a number of approved products on the market that are generating revenue in Europe. The partnership and collaboration between BioVaxys and ProCare Health is an historic development for BioVaxys and brings BioVaxys closer to revenue generation. And also, just broadly, it's a huge endorsement of our technology platform. So under the terms of the agreement, ProCare Health is investing $900,000 US dollars into our phase 1 ovarian cancer vaccine trial that we're planning to conduct next year in Europe. And in exchange, ProCare Health is receiving marketing rights in the EU and UK. Furthermore, BioVaxys and ProCare Health are collaborating on two new vaccines, one for cervical cancer and one for adult HPV. And again, ProCare Health is retaining EU and UK marketing rights. And then finally, BioVaxys has a right of first refusal to market PaploCare, which is the world's first and only treatment for HPV-dependent cervical lesions. So this is a product that's approved in Europe that is a big revenue generator there. It should be reviewed by the FDA later this year, so that potentially could bring BioVaxys closer to revenue. But in terms of the broader picture, this partnership between BioVaxys and ProCare Health positions BioVaxys as a leading innovator in the field of women's health. Ovarian cancer is a huge unmet medical need and a significant market. If you look at the genesis of cervical cancer, it starts with HPV and then it progresses to cervical lesions and then it progresses to cervical cancer. And so being able to address that entire chain through novel innovations is very exciting. So we're really honored to be positioned at the forefront of women's healthcare innovation.
Yeah, that's amazing. So BioVaxys recently appointed Kartik Chadran to their scientific advisory board. Can you tell us why this is so significant?
Dr. Chandran is a highly respected professor of microbiology and immunology at Albert Einstein School of Medicine in New York, where he oversees a team that's investigating emerging RNA viruses and molecular mechanisms of infection. Having Dr. Chandran with his vast expertise and his network as scientific advisor is really massively beneficial to the development of BioVax's existing and future product pipeline.
Awesome. So BioVaxys and BioLpida signed a term sheet for the build-out of their clinical grade manufacturing process and packaging for their ovarian cancer vaccine trials. Can you tell us more about this?
BioLpida is a CDMO based in France that applies single-use bioprocessing for development and manufacturing of biological and cell-based products. So BioAlpida is ideally suited to manufacture our cancer vaccine for the ovarian cancer vaccine trial planned for next year. But furthermore, inside BioAlpida, there's a number of personnel that are familiar with our technology, having worked with the previous generation of the cancer vaccine technology. So by entering into this agreement, we're positioning BioVaxys to launch the ovarian cancer vaccine trial early next year in Europe.
Awesome. Very, very exciting. So what's the one thing that you're most excited about for BioVaxys in the next, let's say, 6 to 12 months?
Well, I would say that anybody that would know me would know that it's hard to say there's one thing that I'm
Mhm.
excited about. I'm excited about everything. But if I would say there's one overarching thing, it's the prospects for the commercial development of COVID T. Now, again, COVID T is our novel diagnostic to determine whether somebody has T cell immunity to SARS-CoV-2, which is the virus that causes COVID-19. And this diagnostic involves a skin test. So, a tiny amount of protein is injected into the skin. And if and only if you have T cell immunity to COVID, you'll have a visible response on the skin that is delayed. It's about 24 to 48 hours later. It's called DTH, or delayed type hypersensitivity, which is, believe it or not, is used in diphtheria, but it's not really generally used in other viruses. But it is clearly applicable to COVID-19. So our test, because it's a skin test, it's in vivo, it's very low cost. We're going to use preloaded syringes. It's not a vaccine, it's not a therapeutic. It's pure. It's like if you've ever had a food allergy test where they
Mhm.
inject tiny amounts of protein into your skin. It's essentially the same thing. And what this has the potential to do is to really identify lack T cell immunity to COVID-19, and therefore are candidates to receive the vaccine. Because anybody that already has T cell immunity to COVID doesn't need to be vaccinated. I mean, there the science is incontrovertible. There was a study from Singapore that people that had SARS-CoV-1 17 years ago still have T cell immunity to SARS-CoV-1, which is a very similar virus. In a lot of their recent peer-reviewed studies and scientific literature from leading researchers is showing that generally healthy people, when they recover from COVID, have T cell immunity. And so while the antibody immunity can fall off, and the level of protective antibodies after acute infection can decline, maybe 4 months, 6 months, 12 months after an infection, the level of T cells generally are not falling off in a healthy individual. And the reason why the public health authorities are not focused on T cells and only focused on antibodies is that it's very cheap to screen for antibodies. You can screen antibodies and identify specific antibodies through a very simple test. T cells require drawing blood, sending it to a specialized lab. It takes about a week. We were looking at this test pricing out as several $100s for one person, which is obviously not economic. Our
Mhm.
test, we can get it down really cheap. It's going to be far cheaper than a vaccine. And so this can provide a huge benefit to governments that don't want to vaccinate everyone because they already have a lot of people that are immune, that are getting closer to herd immunity. My hope is that in the developed world, that the question is not going to be prove that you've been vaccinated. It's going to be prove that you have T cell immunity, because T cell immunity is the key to the key part of the adaptive immune system that provides lasting protection. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that T cell immunity is more likely to be cross-reactive against different strains. But certainly, what we can do is we can also use the different strains as the peptide sequences become published. We can have the different versions of the protein produced, and we can see exactly who has T cell immunity to what strain. And this really will, in my mind, do a number of things, but one of which is lessen the need to unnecessarily vaccinate immune people. Secondly, thereby allow more doses to go to the people that truly are vulnerable. And then finally, not expose people that are already immune to unnecessary vaccinations with, the possibility of side effects, however small. And we think that the addressable market is effectively the entire population of the world. So we've gotten the feedback through our regulatory consultants that the FDA has basically is allowing us to apply for what's called an EUA, or emergency use authorization, under a BLA. And so we're moving towards this. Who knows? We're going to have to do an animal tox study. We're going to have to do probably one human trial. But we think that the science behind this is incontrovertible, and the commercial need is obvious and immense. And we've got a chance of getting under an EUA, COVID-T into the market this year, and it helped to solve the world's most important health crisis.
That's amazing, James, and thanks for sharing that. I definitely learned something there. So what's the best way for our viewers to find out more information about BioVaxys?
Well, I would recommend for anyone to come to our website, biovaxys.com, BIOVAXYS. And that has all of our information about the company and links to our filings. And you can contact me through the contact details on the website.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Look forward to, seeing your everything progress, and thanks for coming on the channel.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, guys, that wraps up the video. Thank you so much for watching. I just wanted to say, if you do support me, the channel, and all these videos, then kindly smash that like button along with hitting the subscribe button and the bell for notifications for future videos. I did also want to say, check the disclaimer down below. This video was sponsored by the company that we are talking about today. So check the disclaimer, full disclosure, and we're out of here. Always remember, guys, Departures Capital is for information, education, and entertainment purposes only. Don't buy or sell a stock because you heard it on here. Buy or sell a stock because you've done your research, you've done your thorough due diligence, and you make your own personal investment decisions for yourself. This video is not financial advice. We'll see you guys in our next video.